Okay.
And I'm not meeting you at Pacino.
I'm not going to Pacino.
Good. Okay.
What's Pacino's?
The coffee house.
Well, I still hope you get the job.
Yeah, me too.
Are you going to French Quarter Fest this weekend, Dr.
Come on, Brittany. Let's
No,
go.
you know, I tend to avoid crowds.
Huh.
That's just me.
Come on, Brittany.
I'm just weird that way.
I went
Oh,
for
wait.
the first
Oh,
time
yeah.
last year.
Did you like it?
It was hot.
You know, like I've been to the jazz festival, and every time I go, I feel like I'm hot and sweaty,
Yeah.
and there's not enough places to
I'm
sit
going
down.
too. Y'all going? Because I'm going.
So yeah, I tend to avoid those places now. I like comfort. I like air conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah, Jazz Festival is really hot. It's like, it's the worst. Yeah. Sun and dirt. Hey, Kat.
Hey,
What are you doing this weekend?
nothing.
What'd you do for your birthday?
Went to Outback.
When's your
Ooh,
birthday?
no.
Yeah.
Today.
Today's
Yesterday.
your birthday?
It was
No, yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, happy birthday. What'd you get from Outback?
I got the lobster and a filet mignon.
Which one did you go to?
No, I'm not good with directions. Let's see.
The one by
I mean,
Lakeside
what part
Mall.
of town? Because there's one on the west bank.
The other,
By Lakeside Mall.
yeah,
Yeah, on Severn, or like by Severn. I
You
think
went
it's
Metairie.
Severn.
You went Metairie.
yes.
Okay.
How old did you make?
What?
How old are you?
19.
Just a baby.
Yeah.
Just a baby.
Yeah.
What? I figured they would.
That's my middle name. Yeah, cat or kicker. That's it.
That's your
It's
middle name?
Vietnamese. No.
No? That'd be cool.
No.
Wait, so how do you say it then? Len?
Lat.
Lan.
Lan?
Lan. Yeah.
That's your middle name?
I wish your middle name was Sphincter. That way you learn.
Sphincter?
Yeah.
Okay.
That flows. Cat, Lan, Gray.
Oh, I thought you were saying cat sphincter, correct?
No.
Yeah, that kind of does too. Cat orchid. That should just be your name, just cat orchid.
Cat orchid? Okay.
Wow. That would be like a stripper or something. Just kidding. Don't listen to anything I say.
We do.
Cheers.
Thank you, though.
Is this kid Miller? Or whatever?
Toffee.
Coffee.
Have you had the Score candy bars? They're like the only candy I eat. It's good, but it
I've
tastes
heard
like
of
this.
it.
They have a thousand.
They have chocolate and wheat bars. I haven't tried it yet. I want to try
I
it.
saw those. I doubt they would do anything for me though.
Well, YouTube, like, what?
Oh, they
Five,
started
isn't it?
rejecting caffeine from my days.
Or you could be one of those people that does the coffee enemas.
I've heard
The caffeine
that.
goes straight into your bloodstream, right there. Good to go.
Hey, that's an idea.
They really do have people that do that. They had a show. I think it was on My Strange Addictions.
Oh my
They were doing
God.
coffee
That
enemas.
show is ridiculous.
How long does that last? I do that.
I have no idea.
Caffeine.
Well, you know,
enema.
Seems not
In
worth it.
pharmacology, you always have to think rectum. Rectum's a delivery system. So,
Caffeine.
you know, if someone's vomiting, okay, and you have to give an antiemetic, you know, drug to stop the nausea and vomiting, if you give it to them orally, there's a good chance they're going to vomit it up. So what do you have to do? Think rectally.
Incorrectly.
You always have to have the rectum on your mind. Use that as a delivery system. It's like people who are undergoing DTs, alcohol withdrawal. You can administer alcohol rectally, you know, so that it slows down the withdrawal process is what it does. You can use the rectum for so many things.
Coffee.
Coffee, I've never used that one, but if someone needs their coffee fix in the morning, they don't have a lot of time.
That's
I can see that.
I guess the caffeine really kicks in real quick.
Right.
It's,
I mean, they have all kinds of stuff.
Why would the rectum get into your system first? Well, because the rectum, it drains into the portal vein, inferior mesenteric. Now, that which is being drained by the inferior mesenteric is metabolized by the liver first before it reaches the systemic circulation. But the rectum is also drained by the internal iliac vein, where that 50% of the drainage goes directly to the bloodstream. So you feel that kick right away. So by using the rectum, you're bypassing part of that first pass effect of the liver. So it kicks in a lot quicker. So if you want your coffee to kick in quicker, what you can do is put it into a large, like 50 cc syringe. Just pour it in, okay? And then give yourself a little injection, so to speak.
Well, no, they had like a little bag and it was like draining into their butt.
But if you want to use a bag, you could. But if you wanted to maximize,
yeah, you just lay there
you
and
just push.
it drains. Strange Addictions. They had a girl that was addicted to snorting baby powder too.
I see
They
that.
just like the smell of baby powder. Ew.
Oh, I remember.
Ew.
She would like lick her
Lick her
fingers.
finger, dip it in there.
That's like the only thing I remember from that episode. Is just
They
her
had the
licking her
weirdest
finger.
stuff on there.
Well, and yeah, on that episode, she was like running out because she had been doing it for so long. She didn't know what she was going to do.
What am I going to do with my life? I can't eat my boyfriend's ashes.
Kill more relatives. That would be
I
a
seen there was a lady that who was like,
cool movie.
she liked to eat toilet paper or something like that. She brought it
Or a
with her
lady that liked to
everywhere.
eat soap. There was a lady that liked to eat sheetrock too.
Glass.
I like to drink bleach.
Ew.
No, none of those.
There's some weird stuff on there.
you know, it
To
takes
get
all
on
kinds.
TV. It's disgusting. Just to get their 10 minutes of fame.
I'm sure there are people in this class that have strange addictions.
Not eating sheetrock.
It may not be that one, but that's all stuff that we keep secret a little bit. I collect coins. I don't let people know too much.
My grandpa does
That's not
that.
weird, that's the thing.
Right.
That.
Well, yeah, well, everything's a
People
thing.
eat sheetrock.
There's a large group of people that do, though. It's a thing.
I don't separate my Oreos.
Okay, that's not weird.
That's pretty weird.
No,
What
it's
do you
not.
do? What's weird?
I don't separate my Oreos when I eat them. I feel like a monster when I do that.
That's
I just
not-
eat the
that's
whole
not
thing.
strange.
Literally, none of my friends do it, and they all make fun of me. They're like, "So you just bite into it?" I'm
I
just
just bite
like,
into
"Yeah."
mine.
You eat a whole? You do the Oreo whole?
Yeah. I just-
Wow. Yeah. No, I have to
Those people
separate.
like take it apart and lick it. I'm just like,
No.
okay.
You know, I'm glad you're sharing that because secrets keep us sick.
All right. Well, I guess you'll have to pick my friends. They're all jerks.
Doesn't mean they're bad people. They're bad people.
Yeah, yeah, they are. How does it reduce Alright, caffeine out. So do you just like buy espresso shots?
Why are you asking me?
I don't know. Thought you would know.
Because Kat, we think of you as kind of the dangerous one in the class.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
If
Okay.
anyone's going to do something a little
Espresso
bit,
shots is dangerous.
if anyone's going to be a little rogue, it's going to be Kat.
Okay.
That's what I think. We don't, you know, she likes to give this Clark Kent demeanor.
Yeah.
We don't know what's behind those glasses.
Okay.
God, you would look hilarious in spandex suit. I would love to see that.
That would look funny. Just
Maybe
maybe
next
next long
Halloween.
legs.
All right, let's get going again. What I'm going here
I'll try.
is the renal corpuscle, and you see the filtrate now draining into the proximal convoluted tubule. Last class we said that the PCT, the cells of PCT, are composed of simple choroidal epithelium. They make up a simple choroidal epithelium, and these cells have cilia. Okay, because this is the site where the greatest amount of absorption occurs in the PCT. Now, so these green dots represent filtrate. In order for substances within the filtrate to be reabsorbed, those substances have to pass through 3 membranes. Okay? They have to pass through the luminal membrane, right here, of the cells of the PCT. Then, to be reabsorbed, these substances have to pass through what's called the basolateral membrane, where they get deposited into the interstitium here of the kidney. And then finally, these substances that are being reabsorbed have to pass from the interstitium into the blood of the peritubular capillaries. So they have to pass through the endothelium that makes up the capillary wall. So those are the 3 membranes through which reabsorbed filtrate have to pass and be transported. Okay? What drives this process is movement through the basolateral membrane. Okay? Now, we're going to come back to that. About 70% of the filtered sodium and water within the filtrate get reabsorbed within the PCT. 70%. Okay. 100% of the glucose that gets freely filtered typically gets reabsorbed within the PCT. So that if you go beyond the PCT and you examine the filtrate, there's no glucose. So that normally, unless a patient's diabetic, when you examine the urine, there's no glucose. There's no glucose urea. So the reason there's no glucose in the urine is different from the reason there's no protein. With respect to protein, it's simply the matter that protein isn't filtered. But for glucose, glucose is filtered, but it undergoes 100% reabsorption in the PCT. So that the mechanism, the explanation is different. Okay? We said that the brush border here along the apical surface of these cells allows for increased reabsorption. It increases the surface area for that purpose. Now, let's look at the transport across these 3 membranes. The transport across the luminal membrane from the tubular lumen into the cells, okay, is more of a passive process in which filtrate is transported along an electrochemical gradient. We'll come back to that. The transport across the basolateral membrane is an active transport process that's mediated by pumps. In fact, the main pump is the sodium-potassium ATPase pump. And then finally, the transport from the interstitium across the endothelium, the peritubular capillaries, that's a passive transport process. Okay? It's movement along a chemical gradient. So, in this drawing, if this is the tubular lumen, these are the cells of the PCT. Here's the interstitium, here's the peritubular capillary. Okay. What drives the movement across 1, 2, 3 membranes is what happens here at the basolateral membrane. Here's one of those sodium-potassium ATPase pumps. You see ATPase is present within the pump because ATPase can split off one of those high-energy phosphates from ATP and use the derived energy to fuel the pump. And what the pump does is it takes sodium from inside the cell and pumps it out in exchange for moving potassium in. Okay? In fact, the ratio is 3 to 2. It moves 3 ions of sodium out in exchange for bringing 2 ions of potassium in. Now, what that means is that you're going to lose sodium from the intracellular space. Intracellular sodium concentrations are going to fall because it's being actively pumped out into the surrounding interstitium. Now, it's being pumped out in exchange for potassium, but notice that there's a ratio. We're moving 3 positively charged ions out in exchange for moving 2 in. So each time this pump transports sodium out in exchange for potassium, we're losing a positively charged ion from the cell. So the cell is becoming progressively more electronegative because of a difference, 3 for 2. In fact, much of the potassium that enters ends up leaking back out. So that would make this inside of the cell even more electronegative. Okay. So as a result of pump activity, the concentration of sodium inside the cell is going to fall, and the cell is going to become more electronegative. Now, that means for sodium within the filtrate, you're establishing an electrochemical gradient, meaning that sodium is a positively charged ion, and it's going to be attracted to the inside of the cell. That's going to favor movement because the inside of the cell is electronegative, and opposite charges attract. So there's an electrical gradient that's favoring the movement of sodium from the lumen into the cell. That electrical gradient is just an opposite charge at those 2 sites. Now, in addition to an electrical gradient, there's a chemical gradient. Sodium concentration here is the same as it is within serum, which is fairly high. Whereas the sodium concentration in the cell is fairly low because it's being pumped out. So we're creating, in addition to an electrical gradient, a chemical gradient